Hello, my friends. Today, I want to share a simple story from my own life. When I was 12 years old, I did something that most people would find a bit unusual. Every single morning, before school, before I even had breakfast, I would get on my bicycle and ride 40 minutes to the Hangzhou International Hotel. I wasn't going there to eat. I wasn't going there for work. I went there for one reason only, to speak with foreigners. I would walk right up to them and say, "Hello, my name is Jack. Would you like me to show you around today?" And I did it all for free, not a single coin. My family couldn't make sense of it. My classmates thought it was ridiculous. They believed I was throwing my time away. But I kept showing up anyway. Not for a week, not for a month. I continued for nearly 9 years, through rain, through cold, through everything. And something remarkable happened along the way. Those foreigners didn't mock me. They engaged with me. They listened. They corrected the way I spoke. Without either of us realizing it, they had become my teachers. One day, one of them said, "Your name is a bit hard for me to pronounce. Mind if I call you Jack?" I said yes. And that name has stayed with me ever since. Now let me ask you something. Why did I do that? Why would a young boy pedal so far every morning just to speak with complete strangers? Because I understood something very early on. English is not merely a language. It is a doorway. At the time, I had no idea what was waiting on the other side of that door, but I knew it led somewhere much larger than the small world I was living in. And I wanted to walk through it. That is the core of what I want you to take from today. Learning English is not simply about mastering words. It is about unlocking possibilities. It is about being able to see a world that is much wider than the one you currently know. And the good news is, you can begin exactly the same way I did. Humbly, one sentence at a time. Many people spend years studying English. They work through grammar rules. They build up their vocabulary. They read textbook after textbook. Some of them even do well on exams. But the moment a foreigner approaches them with something as basic as, "Excuse me, where is the nearest train station?" their minds go completely empty. They know the words. They just cannot produce them. Does any of this feel familiar? This is not a sign that you lack intelligence. And it does not mean English is beyond your reach. The real issue is much simpler than that. You trained your brain, but you never trained your mouth. Let me break it down in a straightforward way. Imagine you decided to learn the piano. You study music theory. You understand how rhythm and melody work. You watch tutorial after tutorial online, but you never once sit down and touch the actual keys. What happens the first time you try to play? Your hands freeze. You don't know where your fingers are supposed to go. Speaking English works in exactly the same way. You might carry a large vocabulary in your mind, but your mouth has not caught up. Your tongue is not yet accustomed to the sounds. Your breathing is not relaxed or natural. These things require their own kind of practice. And this is where most learners fall short. They invest their energy in reading, writing, and listening, but they avoid speaking. Reading is not speaking. Writing is not speaking. Listening is not speaking. Speaking stands on its own. It happens in real time. There is no pause button. Someone is standing in front of you, waiting for a response. That is precisely why it feels so challenging. That is why so many people feel a rush of nerves. But that is also exactly why speaking matters more than anything else. If your goal is to speak English well, you must practice, not occasionally, every single day. Even a short session counts. But you have to open your mouth. Because in the end, language does not live only inside your head. It has to come out. I want to talk about something that is incredibly straightforward, yet rarely discussed honestly. Many English instructors never address this clearly. The biggest obstacle is not your pronunciation. It is not grammar. It is not the size of your vocabulary. The biggest obstacle is fear. And I say that with full understanding because I lived with that fear myself. In many cultures, children are raised with the idea that making mistakes in front of others is something to avoid. If you are unsure, it is more respectful to remain quiet. That teaches a kind of discipline, and in many areas of life, it is a valuable lesson. But in language learning, that same mindset can quietly hold you in place. Because acquiring a language works differently. You must make mistakes. You must attempt things even before you feel prepared. You cannot improve while staying silent. It simply does not function that way. When I was young and practicing with tourists in Hangzhou each morning, I made countless mistakes. I mispronounced things. I got my grammar wrong. People looked confused. There was one moment where I tried to express something perfectly simple, and the person in front of me had absolutely no idea what I was saying. I felt the heat of embarrassment rise through me. Part of me wanted to quit right there. But I came back the following morning, and the morning after that, because I had made one quiet decision inside myself. I told myself, it's fine to feel embarrassed now. What matters is that I'll be better later. That single decision kept me going. And gradually, through small steps, I got there. Now let me introduce you to someone. Picture her clearly in your mind. Her name is Rose. She is 26 years old. She grew up in a regular city, worked hard in school, and performed well academically. Her English is actually quite decent. She can read articles without much trouble. She can compose a professional email. But the moment speaking enters the picture, everything shifts. In meetings, she goes quiet. On video calls with international colleagues, her microphone stays muted. When her manager asks for her thoughts, her heart begins to race. She knows the answer. The idea is fully formed in her head. But when the moment arrives to speak it out loud, she locks up. She begins a sentence, then trails off. She gives a nervous smile and says, "I'm sorry, my English isn't very good." And then silence. After the meeting ends, the thoughts keep circling back. She thinks, I knew exactly what I wanted to say, but the moment has passed. And slowly, something more dangerous begins to take root. She starts building a story about herself. My English just isn't strong enough. Maybe I'm not a natural speaker. Maybe I'll start speaking once I've improved a bit more. But that moment never arrives, because if all you ever do is prepare, but you never actually practice, you are not growing. You are simply waiting. I have met many people like Rose throughout my life. They are sharp, they absorb information well, they have valuable perspectives, but they don't speak. And when silence becomes your default, it stops being a choice and starts being a habit. And habits once formed are not easy to unravel. So let me say something plainly. The English you have right now is enough to begin. Not flawless, but sufficient. You do not need better English in order to start. You need to start in order to get better English. That distinction is everything, so do not hold off. Speak with what you have. That is where it all begins. I applied to Harvard 10 times, 10 rejections. After graduating university, I pursued job after job and was turned down repeatedly. When KFC opened a location in my city, dozens of people applied. I was the only one not selected. I also attempted to join the police force and didn't make it there either. Why am I sharing all of this? Because when people encounter me today, they see someone who carries himself with confidence, someone who can address a crowd, sometimes even in English, without visible fear. People assume I was always this way, but that is far from the truth. Back then, I was confused. I kept asking myself, why do I keep hitting walls? There were stretches where exhaustion set in, where I genuinely questioned whether I was capable. But I did not walk away, because eventually I began to understand something important. Being rejected is not the end of the road. It is information. It tells you where you still have room to grow. It reveals your weak points so you can address them. And this applies directly to learning English. When you speak and stumble, it is not failure. It is a signal. It is your mind pointing to the area that needs more attention. People who speak English with confidence are not people who never made mistakes. They are people who kept showing up, kept speaking, kept learning, kept trying again the next day. So stop treating mistakes as something to fear. Use them, study them, and then take the next step. Here is something I really want you to hold on to. Your mouth is a muscle. This is not just a motivational phrase. It is physiologically true. Your tongue, your lips, your jaw, these are all muscles, just like the ones in your arms and legs. And like any muscle, they develop through consistent use. When you speak English, you are not only processing vocabulary, You are moving your mouth in entirely new ways. Certain sounds do not exist in your native language. Your tongue may need to make contact with your teeth from a position that feels completely foreign. Your lips may need to form shapes that seem awkward at first. This is why so many people say, I understand English just fine, but I can't speak it. Understanding lives in the brain. Speaking lives in both the brain and the body. You might know every word, but your mouth has not been conditioned yet. So what is the solution? It is straightforward. You must speak more. Not just listen, not just read. Open your mouth and produce sounds every single day. You can practice in private, in your bedroom, in the shower, on a walk. It does not need to be polished. What matters is that it happens. If you commit to even a small amount daily, your mouth will gradually become comfortable with the sounds of English. And one day, it will begin to feel natural. Let me tell you about another person. We'll call him Daniel. Daniel was 22 and had just started his first professional job. He worked at a company where English was used occasionally, and once a month, there was an online meeting with an international team. Those meetings were always conducted in English. At first, Daniel was not particularly worried. He could follow the conversation, not every word, but a solid portion of it, maybe around 60%. But when it became his turn to contribute, everything collapsed. His mind went blank instantly. He knew what he wanted to communicate, but the words refused to form. His sentence stopped partway through. He stared at the screen and could see everyone waiting. The silence dragged. The longer it continued, the harder it became to break. So he produced a few fragmented words, and the moment moved on. This repeated itself across multiple meetings. After the third one, Daniel was deeply frustrated. He did not feel unintelligent. He knew he could understand, but he could not express what he was thinking. Perhaps you have been in that same place. You comprehend English perfectly well, but when you open your mouth, nothing flows. After that third meeting, Daniel made a quiet but firm decision. He told himself, I am going to solve this on my own. He did not have the budget for a tutor. He did not have time to enroll in a class. So he chose something practical and repeatable. Every morning, he picked up his phone, pressed record, and spoke for 5 minutes. No script, no preparation. He simply talked about his morning, about the weather, about something that was weighing on him at work. He spoke as though he were having a casual conversation with a friend, except the friend was his phone. In the beginning, it felt deeply uncomfortable. Listening back to his own voice made him cringe. He stumbled often. He cycled through the same handful of words. He said far too frequently. Sentences trailed off without finishing. It was rough. But he kept going. He listened back not to judge himself, but to observe what was actually happening. He began noticing patterns, where he hesitated, which words he couldn't locate, which sentence structures gave him trouble. And the next morning he tried again. After about 3 weeks, a shift occurred. It was not dramatic, but it was real. He was pausing less. His sentences were a little smoother. Mistakes were still there, but they were different mistakes. And that distinction matters enormously. When the nature of your mistakes changes, it is proof that you are moving forward. 6 weeks in, Daniel had another international meeting. Nerves were still present. His pulse was elevated. But something had shifted in him. When his manager turned to him and said, Daniel, what's your take on this? He did not go silent. He took a breath and responded. Not perfectly. There were pauses. There were imperfect word choices. But he delivered a complete thought, a coherent idea, and people understood him. After the call ended, a message arrived from one of his colleagues. Good point today. 3 words. But Daniel read that message over and over. Because for the first time, something clicked inside him. I can do this. What Daniel discovered is something deceptively simple, but genuinely powerful. If you want to speak better, you need to hear yourself speak. Because when you listen to your own voice, you stop imagining your problems and start seeing them as they actually are. You hear where you lose momentum. You hear which words you lean on too heavily. You hear which sentences collapse before they finish. Most learners stay entirely in their heads. They read, they absorb content, they think, but they do not produce. And because they never produce, they do not progress. Speaking is a physical skill. Like any sport, you cannot develop it purely through observation. You have to get in and practice it. So here is what you can try. Take your phone. Speak for 5 minutes every day. Do not chase perfection. Do not perform for an imaginary audience. Just speak. Then listen back, not with judgment, but with curiosity. And gradually, day after day, you will notice movement. Not overnight, but unmistakably. Because the target is not flawless English. The target is genuine communication, and it begins with one simple habit. Speak and listen to yourself. Now, I want to give you something tangible, something you can put into action tonight. Not abstract ideas, a real structured plan. And I will be honest with you about how it will feel, because honesty is how real learning happens. For the first 10 days, spend 10 minutes each morning speaking English. Not when you feel like it. Every single day. Find a quiet spot. You do not need any equipment. Just stand there and talk about your morning, your schedule, how you are feeling. Something like, I woke up at 7. I'm a little tired today. I have a lot on my plate. I'm hoping to get through it all. That is enough. You do not need sophisticated vocabulary. You just need to speak. Then, each evening, before bed, take 2 or 3 minutes to record yourself answering a simple question. Something like, what happened today? Or, what was the best moment of my day? Then, listen back. Push through the discomfort. Listen all the way through. You will notice where you hesitate, where words escape you, where your thoughts lose their shape. The next morning, you go again. The first few days will feel awkward. That is completely normal. Your voice will sound strange to you. Ideas will dry up quickly. After a minute, you might hit a wall. You might feel a strong pull to switch back to your native language. Resist that. Stay in English, even if your sentences are short, even if you are speaking slowly, even if you stop and restart. This is exactly how your brain builds the pathways it needs. Think of a small child learning to speak. They go slowly. They get things wrong constantly, but they never stop trying. That is the only reason they eventually succeed. You are doing the same thing. From day 11 through day 20, you introduce shadowing. This means you listen to something and then immediately repeat it, trying to match what you heard closely as possible. Choose a short audio or video. 3 minutes is ideal. Listen to one sentence, pause, repeat it. Do not focus only on the words. Pay attention to how the words feel coming out of your mouth. Notice the pace. Notice where the speaker places emphasis. When someone says, I really need to get home, observe whether they rush certain words, where they slow down, which syllable they press a little harder. Then, try to produce the same thing. You might feel ridiculous at first. Most people do. But after a few days, it becomes far more natural. Shadowing is effective because it trains both your ear and your mouth at the same time. Most learners can understand English but cannot produce it fluidly. Shadowing addresses that gap directly. It moves the language from something you decode to something you feel. It is like learning a song. You do not just read the words, you sing them. Do this for roughly 20 minutes a day and continue the recording habit you started in the first 10 days. For the final 10 days, you bring in another human being. This is the step most people dread, but it is also the most transformative. You do not need a native speaker. You do not need someone with perfect pronunciation. You just need someone who is on the same journey as you. Look for a conversation partner online, find a small community, or simply approach a friend. Speak in English for 15 to 20 minutes every day. Do not over-prepare. Do not try to sound impressive. Simply talk. Ask easy questions. What did you get up to today? What do you enjoy doing when you have free time? You will make mistakes. That is expected. Sometimes you will laugh together, and that laughter is a good sign. It means the pressure has eased. It means you are communicating as a human being, not performing as a student. This is how language genuinely develops in the real world. Not through isolated study, but through actual use. Consider people who relocate to a new country. The first months are a struggle, but by the end of the year, they are holding full conversations. Why? Because the language surrounds them, and they use it constantly. You are building that same environment for yourself, deliberately. After 30 days, something will have shifted. Speaking will not feel as daunting as it once did. Mistakes will still happen, but the fear around them will have softened. Words will come more quickly. Your thoughts will flow with fewer interruptions. It will feel more comfortable. Not polished, but comfortable. And that feeling carries enormous weight, because once something feels familiar, you continue it. And continuation is what drives growth. After those 30 days, you might wonder, why does this approach actually work? The answer is uncomplicated. Because you are not learning English only inside your head. You are engaging it with your mouth, your ears, and the rhythm of your daily life. In the first 10 days, you train yourself to think directly in English. You stop mentally translating everything and start producing ideas in the language itself, even with simple words. In the next 10 days, you refine your ear and begin shaping your pronunciation. You stop learning textbook English and start absorbing the way real English actually sounds. And in the final 10 days, you put it into contact with other people. This is the most crucial stage, because language was never meant to live inside a textbook. It exists for connection. Now reflect on your own situation for a moment. Maybe you can understand English videos fairly well. Maybe you have solid reading comprehension and know plenty of words. But the second someone asks you something as ordinary as "What did you do today?" you hesitate. Your mind searches, tension rises, and sometimes you say nothing at all. This is not a rare experience. It happens to an enormous number of people. Not because they are poor at English, but because they have not invested enough time in actually speaking it. This plan directly targets that gap, one manageable step at a time. You do not need impeccable grammar. You do not need an extensive word bank. You just need to speak a little more with each passing day. So stop waiting. You do not need to over-prepare. Start small. Tonight, say one sentence in English. Tomorrow, say a little more. That is where real progress begins. Most people who listen to this will walk away and change nothing. That is the truth. But if you are genuinely committed to a different outcome, you can begin right now. One day, one sentence, one step at a time. And over time, English will stop feeling like something you are studying and start feeling like something you simply do. Before I leave you with these final thoughts, I want you to sit with an honest question. How many times have you wanted to speak English, but stayed silent? Not because the vocabulary wasn't there, but because fear held you back. If that resonates with you, then what I am about to say is meant specifically for you. I have shared quite a bit today, but I want to land on just 3 ideas. Not 10, not 20. 3, because 3 is something you can carry with you and actually apply. The first is this: silence is the one mistake you cannot recover from. If you speak and say something incorrectly, a correction can follow. You try again and you improve. But if you say nothing, nothing changes. Think about the moments in your day, a meeting, a classroom, an online conversation where you knew the answer, felt you had something to offer, but held your words back. That silence felt like safety, but it did not move you forward. So do this. After today, say at least one sentence out loud in English. It can be as plain as, "Today I am practicing English." That is a beginning. The second idea is about what fluency actually means. Fluency is not measured by how many words you possess. It is measured by how many words you are willing to use. I have encountered people with impressive vocabularies who cannot hold a conversation because they are paralyzed by the pursuit of perfection. I have also met people who speak with very limited vocabulary but communicate with remarkable clarity. When they cannot locate a specific word, they describe it instead. They cannot remember umbrella, so they say, "the thing you hold over your head when it rains." And the message lands perfectly. That is real communication. In genuine conversation, people do not need you to be technically perfect. They need to understand your idea. So stop waiting until you know everything. Work with what you already have. The third idea is about your accent. A great deal of anxiety surrounds this. People worry that their English does not sound like a native speaker's, and they interpret that as inadequacy. But your accent is not a flaw. It is an expression of where you come from and who you are. When I speak English, I speak with my own accent. That has never prevented me from connecting with people around the world. People respond to what you are saying, not to how your vowels are shaped. In any international conversation, you will encounter a wide range of accents. That is the natural state of a global language. What matters is speaking with clarity and with confidence. So hold on to these three things. Do not stay silent. Do not delay until you feel ready. And do not let your accent become an excuse. There is one final thing I want you to understand. You are not someone who cannot speak English. You are someone who is in the process of learning to speak it. That difference is significant. Many people have labeled themselves as incapable and stopped trying altogether. But the reality is that they simply have not practiced consistently enough yet. Every time you speak, even a single sentence, you are making real progress. It might feel negligible. It is not. Think about the way your days currently look. Maybe you watch English content regularly and grasp quite a lot of it. But when the attention turns to you and it is your moment to respond, anxiety takes over and silence follows. That moment is actually the most important one. If you let it pass in silence, nothing shifts. But if you reach for even the most basic words and push them out, your brain begins to rewire. That is where speaking genuinely grows, not inside your head, but through your mouth. Most people who have listened to this will feel a spark of motivation for a short while, and then return to exactly what they were doing before. That is simply the truth. But if you are after a different result, it requires a different action, and it needs to happen today. Not next week. Today. Your English will not develop in silence. It develops each time you use it, in real moments, with real stakes again and again. Let me close with something from my own journey. I began with nothing. I built something step by step. That company I started eventually served millions of people. I have stood on stages in countries across the world, speaking with people from wildly different backgrounds and cultures. None of that would have been possible without English. Not because English holds some inherent magic, but because it became the bridge that connected me to a much larger world. It opened doors to new ideas, to new relationships, to ways of seeing things I never would have encountered otherwise. In the real world, English is not just a subject on an exam. It is a practical instrument. It makes it possible to participate in international meetings, in global conversations, in opportunities that would otherwise remain completely out of reach. And I did not arrive at fluency through some ideal method. I was never ready. I learned by using the language. Every day I pushed myself to speak. I chose the wrong words. My grammar was often incorrect. I stopped mid-sentence more times than I can count, searching for what came next. But I did not quit. And that persistence is the only real reason I improved. This is how we learn anything that actually matters in life. When a child learns to speak, they do not wait for certainty. They try. They get it wrong. They try again. In your own real-life moments with English, the nervousness, the blank mind, the search for a simple word, that is not evidence of failure. That is the process working exactly as it should. The problem is never making mistakes. The problem is deciding to stop. You do not need a flawless system. You do not need a perfect accent. And you do not need to wait until confidence arrives on its own. Confidence follows action. It does not come before it. If you keep waiting for the ideal conditions, they will never materialize. There is no perfect time. There is only the moment you choose to begin. Right now, after this, I want you to do just one thing. Say a sentence in English. One sentence about anything. Today, I am practicing English. Or I feel nervous, but I am going to try anyway. Say it out loud, not in your head. When you speak out loud, your brain and your mouth start functioning as a unit. That is when real learning occurs. Then do the same thing tomorrow. Maybe 2 sentences. Maybe a full minute of talking. It does not need to be impressive. It simply needs to happen. This is how your journey begins. Not with something overwhelming or elaborate. With something small, repeated every day. Some days will feel light. You will have energy, ideas will flow, and you will surprise yourself. Other days will feel heavy. You will be tired. The words won't come. You may feel like giving up entirely. That is part of it. What separates the people who improve from those who don't is not talent. It is showing up on the heavy days too. Even one sentence on a difficult day still counts as progress. Over time, something quietly extraordinary happens. One sentence becomes two. Two becomes a paragraph. A paragraph becomes a conversation. And one day you realize that English has woven itself into the fabric of how you think and communicate. You no longer have to force it. It starts to feel like yours. This is why consistency outweighs perfection every single time. Perfection creates paralysis. Consistency creates momentum. Even the smallest step, taken every day, will take you somewhere significant. So release the pressure of being perfect. Focus instead on showing up, on speaking even briefly. That is genuinely enough. Thank you for being here with me today. I hope what I have shared stays with you, not just in this moment, but in the days and weeks ahead. Now it is your turn. Open your mouth, say your first sentence, and keep moving forward.